Night, including the target on Lake and Minnehaha. Earlier, Minneapolis Police Chief Madera Arredondo, who you just saw, spoke with us about the looting, urging peace.
We really cannot tolerate criminal behavior that really threatens the safety and well-being of others out there, as well as the men and women who are trying to keep the peace out there.
We have heard from several other businesses that are either on fire or getting broken into. Of course, Jason, we have a whole lot going on right now, and we'll keep you updated as we hear it.
Okay, Christian Cordero, thank you. We know that rioters have destroyed many businesses right along Lake Street, working their way into Uptown overnight. Some of the major ones we know about, an AutoZone went up in flames. Cub Foods in that area also burned, and both Target and High Lake Liquors have been broken into and looted. Target said it closed this location earlier last night to try to keep employees safe. The store, though, quite a bit of looting there.
Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahweh Shai, Barakah Yahweh, Barakah Yahweh Shai, Kol Halo Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Hakadosh. Double honors to the prophet and elders of the great, no one taught me the truth. And that rule well. Salutations to the Aki market pushing the truth in all sincerity and risking their lives to do so. Also salutations to the hopeful like that scattered among the four corners of the earth that believe in the truth of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Shalom. This is 2nd Esdras 9:1, which reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest parts of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the Slakia, therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and upwards of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world has a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So yeah, as you can see, all this the people are in uproar, for the current events that took place with Greg Floyd. You know, um, he was put to death at the hands of his enemy. A so-called white man who's who's known as the Edomite. You know, biblically they are for the nation of Edom. The so-called white man, and who's the enemy of the nation of Israel. You so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes. The Esau Edom, the so-called white man, is your enemy. And the Lord has now kindled a fire in the earth. For there to be uproars of the people, because this is the times that we're in. We're in the end times, showing you that these are the things that are going to take place, because we're in the beginnings of Jacob's trouble. We're on the brink of this, and I made videos before, going into these scriptures, because these are the current times that we're in with these current events taking place. The whole pandemic, the coronavirus. These are the events that's going to lead up to the Lord showing up on scene and putting these devils and these heathens, and these 2/3 wicked niggas to death. Because these things gotta unfold. Before that takes place. There's an order into how the Lord has set you know things in place for His return, and we're in these times now. Because all this is going to lead up to Esau Edom, implementing his mark of the beast. That's why all this chaos is taking place throughout the world. You know, because this is the beginning of the end, of his kingdom. I got a few more videos that I want to get into, but as you saw in the video, they said fires are kindled throughout, um, Minnesota, because of the people rioting, for the injustice that was committed to this this Jake, George Floyd, you know, and it all could all be even a setup by Esau Edom. They could be using crisis actors to bring these things forth. But even if so, if it is a setup, it's all been ordained by the Most High anyway. You know, because you know Esau Edom wants to bring in his mark of the beast, and could all be staged for him to do so. This whole coronavirus pandemic, and this Jake being put to death at the hands of law enforcement. You know, which just so happened to be a so-called white man. Because they know that that's going to stir up chaos within the people. Fighting against you know because these people they've been locked up due to this coronavirus, and they felt that their rights been taken away from them. You know, and then you pour gasoline on the fire when you do a thing like this, and you play on people's emotions. They're already upset about losing their job, and being forced to quarantine, and being shut down and not being able to go out and live life as usual. Now they have to live on certain restrictions, and and a lot of people, you know they it's, things are decimal for them because they've lost a lot, due to this pandemic. Now on top of this, they're even more vexed, being that they seen injustice take place, because now they see these so-called um, white people. What I'm saying? They're seeing it. They seeing that there's injustice being done to them as well. What I'm saying? They're feeling what Jake has always felt. Since they came set foot on his land. What I'm saying? Now they're getting a taste of it. Because they can't go out and about freely. They feel like their rights been taken away from them. What I'm saying? When truly, it's all been a facade. What I'm saying? They truly never had no rights. They had privileges in this country. You know, and, that's why Esau Edom has just blatantly taken away from them. With this whole pandemic thing. So now they're starting to see. What I'm saying? The wicked for who they truly are. You know, and that's why they're uprising. But it's truly taking place because it has been ordained by the Lord. But these things are going to continue, and it's going to continue to intensify. What people don't realize, this is the new normal that's going to be taking place in this country. Because this is the end of Esau Edom in his kingdom, and he's going to do whatever he got to do to hold on to it. Even to go as far as to orchestrate. What I'm saying? And stage such a crisis as this. If he did stage this, what I'm saying, goes to show you the depth that he's willing to go through in order to hold on to his kingdom. Um, let's get this. Another video here. Okay, from the beginning. You see, there's no justice, no peace. Abolish the police. Yeah, because these people during these times they're going to have no regard for the law enforcement, for the government. They're going to request even the lives of themselves, of these people as well. You know, just like with the whole with the pandemic, or the coronavirus pandemic. You know, when the government shut down certain cities, they're requiring the heads of those in government, like the woman in Michigan, the governor of Michigan. They was she was getting death threats, you know, because you know she won't open the city back up so they can go amongst living their lives, you know, as before, you know. But there's not, it's not, they're not gonna go on and live things as business as usual like they were before, because this is a transition. This is a change that they want, that the elites want to come forth, you know, and you know it's been ordained by the Most High for this to happen. You know, then things aren't going to be normal, like things are not going to be as they once were before. You know what I'm saying? Things are going to actually change, and Esau Edom wants to have the upper hand because they want to make you their slaves. You know, that's why you know they you know created this pandemic and you know brought forth this rioting, you know, or created this situation to cause this rioting because it's going to, you know, justify them bringing in martial law because you're not social distancing, and you're not, and you're out there, you know, um, causing chaos and raising havoc, you know, and you know, destroying properties, you know, you're endangering society. You're endangering society by not social distancing and transmitting this disease, you know, that's detrimental unto you. And also, you know, creating uh, a violent environment to where that when you're going out and you're rioting and you're setting things ablaze, you know, you're doing an injustice, you know, to society by doing so, you know, and because of that, you know, this gonna, you know, justify them, you know, bringing in martial law, so you know they can actually now, you know, you're not gonna have these rights that you believe you have, you know, they're gonna be taken away from you, and they're gonna be able to roll into your home and take you out of your home and force vaccinate you, force chip you, you know what I'm saying, and put you to death if you refuse, because now you're 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 going to be a threat to national security by you not getting vaccinated to, you know, because you're going to, if you don't get vaccinated, you're going to be a threat to society by, you know, transmitting a deadly disease into them. And if you're out there rioting, you know, um, you're being a threat to society, creating a violent environment. So now the law has the right to put you to death. You know what I'm saying? Because you know they're going to be empowered to do so, and it's going to be justified. That's why you know Trump made a statement that when the looting starts, the shooting starts, because you know once martial law is in effect, you know the constitutional rights, you know, are out the window. You know that you believe you have. You know, you so-called Jakes, you know, what I'm saying you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Constitution wasn't written for you anyway, so you truly don't have any rights. But of course, they're not going to admit to that. You know, as time evolved, they believe that you know they just kind of like you know added you in and say that okay, you know, you got these constitutional rights. But on the books, you know what I'm saying, you know, many, you know, the minorities, Latinos, Negroes, Native Americans are still three-fifths of a man, you know what I'm saying? That's never really been changed. You know, so these constitutional rights has never been established for you because you were considered property at the time. So for Jake to be out there, you know, trying to preach constitutional rights, you know, is irrelevant for you. You know what I'm saying? That's a vain thing for you. Now, you so-called Edomites, you know what I'm saying? You know, these things were written, you know, for the elite, you know, and you've been added in due to that, you know, your lower class Edomites, you know, just to cause that division between you and, you know, um, the so-called um, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you know. So you think you have these rights, but they've been privileges, because as you see, they've been taken away from you, you know, during these times. You know, because you know now because they want these elites, they want to enslave you, and that's what they're going to do. That's what this is leading to. You know, for those that you know can't see what's about to happen, you know, because this has been ordained by the Lord Himself. Even if you know Esau Edom has you know came up with this, you know, and put it into play, you know, with crisis actors, you know, and the whole pandemic thing, it's truly been you know put inside them, you know, by the Lord. You know, the Lord put that spirit on them to do so. You know, it's been orchestrated by them, but it's really truly been authorized and orchestrated by the hands of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, you know, to bring this forth so that he can do what he has to do, in his return, because the Lord, was putting him in that spirit to provoke him to do these things. Just like, they got these police officers actually, encouraging, you know, these riots to take place. You know, there was one man found on the scene, and he was, while the people were protesting, and he started, breaking in windows at an auto parts store. And the people on scene questioned him. He was like, "Yo, get out of here because this is not what this is about right now." But that's what he was trying to provoke. Why? Because they want to bring in their martial law. Because if things get out of get out of control, now they're in the right to bring upon you know the military to come in and you know um, take things by brute force. Because the military is not going to be like the local police. We're dealing with trained killers here. You know what I'm saying? So you're not gonna be able to, the people are not gonna be able to do what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? In these cities, the military is gonna actually, roll on you people. You know what I'm saying? And put you to death. Because that's what they've been trained to do. And I got a few more videos that I want to play. And then we're going to a couple of scriptures too. Scriptures. This is Second Edges 15 and 15, which reads, "For for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands." Yeah, and that's going to bring upon civil wars and race wars. This is what this is leading up to. You know, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yeah, they're not going to have regards for law enforcement or government. Like many of the people, they were requesting, they were making death threats to the governors. You know what I'm saying? When they was having protests in their cities, going up to the state house with guns and signs, you know, threatening, you know, to commit violence, you know, to the governors if they refuse to open up this capital. You know what I'm saying? If they refuse to open the state back up, you know what I'm saying? There's going to be consequences. And as well as law enforcement, as you can see, with this George Floyd death, you know, they're rioting and attacking police vehicles, what I'm saying, breaking their windows, what I'm saying, burning down police precincts, whatnot, or whatnot, what I'm saying? Because this is biblical prophecy that's taking place right now. And these are the times they were in. Second Edges 15, Second Edges 16, you know, Second Edges 9. These are the signs that the end is manifesting, you know, that's going to bring upon, Esau Edom, mark of the beast, you know, because, this is what he wants to take place. And, even if he's staging these things, this is what has to be done in order to bring this in, because it's all part of the prophecies that are going to take place in the end. And a man shall desire to go into the city, but should not be able, because once they implement martial law, all power is going to be given into their hand, and you're not going to be able to go to and fro as before. You're going to have to answer these people. And this is what they want, and this is why all this is taking place, because this is what it's going to lead up to. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be des- destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, people are going to be afraid during these times, man, because of martial law. These people are going to, these military and the law enforcement, they're going to be rolling on you and putting you to putting you to death at will. You know, they're going to have no regard for men, women, or children. They're just going to be putting people to death as they feel free. That's why they're not so much in an uproar about retaliating currently, because any other time that you would see somebody bashing in uh, a police window, uh, uh, bashing in windows on a police car, especially a Jake, they're going to instantly put them to death. So no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But why are they not doing so? Because they got a bigger plan in hand. You know what I'm saying? They're going to let this slide for the time being. Because once martial law is in effect, then they're going to roll on you. You know what I'm saying? People are going to be getting killed. You know what I'm saying? At will. You know what I'm saying? They going to have no regard. They're just going to wipe people out. And it's going to be justified. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbors, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and great tribulation. Yes, because people are going to be um, starving, because of lack of bread. They're not going to have you know food because of the famine. You know what I'm saying? And those that don't cooperate and go with with the plan, those are the ones that are going to really struggle. For those that refuse the vaccination, they're going to be limited to have access to certain things. You might not be able to go grocery shopping if you refuse to have be vaccinated. So if you try to go to the grocery store, you won't have access to that because you're a threat into society because you refuse, to vaccinate yourself. So if you go into the store, you may be able to spread you know, this coronavirus, you know, and due to that, what I'm saying, you won't be able to shop, and so you're gonna starve. And what's that gonna lead to? That means you're gonna have to go and try to survive the best way possible. It's gonna be survival of the fit. You're gonna go and you're gonna probably lay low and watch people who's going in and out of stores and whatnot, and you're gonna roll up on them and take their goods, or even go into the homes or whatnot and do the same for your own survival, you know. Let's go to
You cannot break us! You cannot break us!
and all. See, the officer, he had his knee on his neck, because he had no regard for his life. As the scripture say, they're not gonna have regard for life. You know, Esau Edom, in that spirit of Cain, am I that am I my brother's keeper? He still had that same spirit that he wants to slay his brother, you know, and he's not, that they have a perpetual hatred, these Edomites, towards Jake because that the Lord, the, the Lord Himself has, embedded that in them. You know what I'm saying? He's written that into their DNA. That's just part of who they are. You know, that perpetual hatred that He has towards Jake, is written inside of them. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has installed it inside of them, and the Lord hates, you know, Cain and his descendants. Esau, Edom. The Lord hates him. You know, the Lord has indignation towards Esau, Edom, and that same hatred that the Lord has for Esau Edom, Esau Edom has that same hatred towards Jacob because he he hates um Jacob because the Lord loves him more and he's hated by the Lord. So that's why he does these acts upon you know Jake because he know he has no love from the Lord and he know he has no place of repentance. As the scriptures say. So due to that, he wants to inflict punishment and pain upon Jacob, you know, having that perfect hatred, towards Jacob. But, that in itself has been ordained by the Lord, because the Lord, has created Esau Edom to be destroyed and to create chaos in this world. And he's going to show, a great deliverance to the nation of Israel, you know, through that, So Esau Edom has just been created to be destroyed and to cause chaos in this earth. you know, as explained to you in Romans 9.
Said I could never see anything worse than Rodney King beating. This was worse than Rodney King.
should get the life sentence or death sentence. Took a life, get a life in return and take it back.
There can be two just.
And that's the spirit that we're in, The Lord, you know, is saying that, if you take a life, you got to give a life. And that's the times that we're in. And that's how it's going to be, you know, in the kingdom. It's going to be justified. Those, the Lord's statute commands will be kept. And, Jake won't be able to break them. These other nations will be able to break the Lord's statute commandments. So they commit a crime, what I'm saying? And they commit a death, they're going to be put to death, and that's righteous, you know. If they murder someone, it's going to be righteous for us to put them to death, because that's a righteous kill. We can't keep our law and statute commandments to the best of our ability because, you know, we ought to keep the law, statute, and commandments to the best of our abilities, but there's certain laws that, we can't keep. Like, we see homosexuals, or if your woman commits adultery, they're supposed to be put to death, you know what I'm saying? Or if there's a homosexual, what I'm saying? They're supposed to be put to death. But we can't do so, you know, under Esau's rule, you know what I'm saying? Because he's in control and this is his world, so what he says pretty much goes in his realm because he's living out his blessing, but in our kingdom, you know what I'm saying? Once, the Lord has reestablished his kingdom, you know, it's going to be, you know, the laws are going to be kept, or the laws, statutes, commandments that was given from the beginning. And, for those that commit adultery and for those that, are homosexuals, they're going to be put to death, you know what I'm saying, of these other nations. Because the only nation that's going to be perfect in the law is the nation of Israel, the so-called Latinos, Native Americans, and Negroes, But, but the other nations, they're going to be fair game. And they're going to have to, abide to our rules as we had to abide to theirs and their rules.
Systems, one for Black America and one for white America. We have to have equal justice for the United States of America.
And there's no equal, justice. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as equality. This is something that's been created by Esau Edom, because the Lord has created the nation of Israel to be, you know, greater than any other nation. You know what I'm saying? There's no such thing as equality. You know, that's just something that Esau Edom came up with. To in his unlawfulness, to the Most High, to be against, you know, the Lord's commandments. Because he's the Lord's adversary, and which means he's against everything that the Lord stands for. So this thing of equality is just something that's against what the Lord stands for, because the Lord is not about equality, because he made the nation of Israel greater than all other nations. So that means there's no other nation that's equal to unto them. So when you're in rule, when there's a king or of a nation, and their nations in rule, there's no other nation that's equal unto them. Why? Because they're the higher, they're the power, and you have to answer unto that king in that nation. You know what I'm saying? Just like Esau Edom now, in his rule, all the other nations have to answer into him. That's why he hit these other nations with sanctions and tariffs or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to answer unto him. There's no equal quality among the nations, because he's the the power structure of the world currently, which he's going to be brought out of that power structure by who? Yahweh Shem Yahushai, when he returns.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! We want change! We want change! We want change!
Yeah, and the change is going to come when the Lord comes. You know what I'm saying? The change that's going to take place is Esau Edom implementing his mark of the beast. That's the only change that's going to happen. From this point on. You know what I'm saying? Their change that they want is equality and justice, whatever. But that's not going to happen. You know, until the Lord comes. The people aren't going to be at peace. You know what I'm saying? While the wicked is in rule, as the scriptures say. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the only time the people are gonna be at peace is when the righteous is in rule. When Yahweh Hashem Yahushai comes and restores peace among earth, and and the earth is ruled under righteousness. You know what I'm saying? That's when the people, you know what I'm saying, are going to be in a joyous state. You know, but currently, you know, while the wicked is in rule, you know, it's going to be turmoil and chaos taking through. There's not going to be a change for the better. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to be a change for the worse. You know.
You cannot break us! You cannot break us!
Over the last 36 hours, one fundamental question. Why is the man who killed George Floyd not in jail?
See, as I said, no justice, no peace, because there ain't gonna be no peace on earth, because we're not in the time of peace. Matter of fact, let's go to the scriptures. This is Ecclesiastes 3:8. A time of a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace. See, we're not in a time of love, you know, or in a time of peace. You know what I'm saying? We're in a time of hate and war right now that the Lord has brought upon the earth. You know, there is going to be no peace from this point on because this is the time that we're in. You know, you got to pay attention, you know, to the time that we're in. You know, because the end has manifest in the end time. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be upwards of the people. You know what I'm saying? There's not going to be no love because the love of many shall wax cold. You know what I'm saying? And that's the time that we're in. And Yahweh Shai himself said that, you know, he came not for peace, you know, but for he came not, you know, for peace. Matter of fact, let's get that. It's Matthew. I want to butcher. Matthew 10. Oh, that is 10:34. And this is Yahweh Shai speaking. Think not that I have come to send peace on earth. I am come not to send peace, but a sword. Yeah, he's come to cause division. You know what I'm saying? That's why, you know, there's division amongst the people right now. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the time that he has set place, you know, for chaos to take upon the earth. Because the Lord is visiting the earth right now. You know what I'm saying? As we went through the second Esdras 9. You know, this is the time that he's visiting the earth. You know, and is manifesting, bringing upon the times of Jacob's troubles. You know what I'm saying? We're in the brink to that. You know. And this is just the beginning of sorrows that's going to take place. And these things are only going to continue to intensify. You know what I'm saying? And this is Luke 12:9, which reads, I am come to send fire on earth. And what if, Flocka, and what will I, if it be already kindled? Yeah, as you can see, you know, there's fire already kindled in the earth. You know, people are, you know, setting things ablaze. You know, currently, you know what I'm saying, as as of now, as of this day, you know what I'm saying? These are things that are taking place, you know, that the Lord said, you know, what happened. You know, he has kindled a fire within the earth. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be, it's only going to intensify. It's going to increase. And of course, you know, it's going to, you know, he really going to set up this place ablaze in his return. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to, you know, bring hellfire down, you know, from the heavens, you know, with the nuclear missiles and, you know, from the chariots that he's going to set this place ablaze. You know, Babylon is going to be obliterated. It's going to be completely destroyed. But this is just the beginnings of what's to come. You know, there's still, and, you know, riots and, you know, things of this such are plagues. You know, these are plagues that the Lord has sent upon the earth, you know, during these end days. You know what I'm saying? I know, you know, many people in denial of what's happening because they want things to go back to usual. But there's no going back now. You know what I'm saying? Once the Lord has set this forth, He's not going to turn back on that. You know, so we can get that also. over to, let's go to second Edges 16. It's the second Edges 16 and 2. Gird up yourself with sackcloth, gird up yourself with clothes of sack, and hear, bewail you children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent up, a sword is sent up, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Yeah, so the Lord is saying, once he sent these things out, who's going to turn them back? There's no turning back once he, implement these things or permit these things to happen. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has, has brought these things upon the world for judgment, and there's no turning back now. This is, what's to come, and there's more of it to come as we move on, in these prophecies that the Lord has set placing upon the earth currently, you know. So this is just judgment going throughout the earth, to judge the 2/3, of the nation of Israel, and Esau, Edom, and the other heathen nations. So this is what the Lord has sent forth, and He's not going to bring it back. You know what I'm saying? The fires that's being set, you know what I'm saying? The rioting, the the famine that's you know the beginning of this famine that's taking place, which is going to get worse. You know, um, uh, the coronavirus. This is just one of the plagues of many that's to come. You know what I'm saying? The rioting, all these are plagues, but these are just the beginning of plagues to come, and it's just going to intensify and get worse. There's no turning back. Especially when the second wave of this coronavirus hit. You know what I'm saying? Everything will probably already be in order for them to have martial law, and really won't be able to move about, and that's when you're going to see a mass death. Like the scriptures say, they're going to have no regard, man. They could be putting the people to death at will. You know what I'm saying? These Edomites, and even people, of other nations and these jakes. You know what I'm saying? Because race wars are part of biblical prophecy that we read earlier. You know, nation shall rise against nation. You're gonna, people are gonna be putting, you know, people to death. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the spirit that the Lord has set upon the earth. And this is the times that we're living. And there's no turning back now. You know, so this is it. For may any man drive away a hungry lion in the woods, or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it have begun to burn. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. The mighty Lord sendeth the plague, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his mouth, and who is he that may quench it? Yeah, so the Lord put these things forth, and you can't turn these things back, man. You already put it forth throughout the earth, and there's no turning back now, because this is the beginning of the end, and it's only going to intensify. And this is where we're at in prophecy, man. And then I'm gonna play a few more videos, and then we'll end it here.
And it's not just Minneapolis. Another American city feeling the brunt of the death of George Floyd at the hands of police in Memphis, Tennessee, where hundreds of protesters there shut down streets in order to demonstrate against their own police department, which they say has been harassing residents for years.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
That scene is from Memphis. Now let's do this. Let me take you to Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, residents took to the highways and the underpasses, blocking traffic, taking on police cruisers, and holding vigils and very loud demonstrations to angrily protest the death of George Floyd, who died thousands of miles away. Here now, with more on that story from Los Angeles, is correspondent Natasha Sweet.
tensions are mounting between police and those calling for justice in George Floyd's death. Several hundred protesters blocked traffic on the 101 freeway near downtown Los Angeles Wednesday. Shocking images revealed 2 California Highway Patrol vehicles were attacked. Protesters surrounding one vehicle, smashing in the windows. One protester climbs onto the car's hood, taking a hard fall as the officer drives off. Here you can see the man is covered in blood as he lays on the ground unconscious. He is treated and taken to the hospital by an ambulance. A second police vehicle seen also has its windows smashed in by protesters. Activists gathered near City Hall, marching through the streets just before getting onto the 101 freeway, blocking the flow of cars. Officials say traffic on the expressway was much lighter than normal as a result of California's stay-at-home orders for the coronavirus pandemic. Just before 6:30, the crowd moved off the freeway back onto the streets of downtown. Into the evening, some protesters were seen burning an American flag upside down, carrying the remains toward a row of officers. The Los Angeles protest came just hours after LA Police Chief Michael Moore issued a statement condemning the video of Floyd's death as incredibly disturbing. Reporting for the News with Rick Sanchez, Natasha Sweet, RT.
And you see that we're burning the flag, man. The symbolism showing that this place is done. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is about to take down, the daughter of Babylon, which is, so-called United States of America, man. The Lord is going to, put an end to this place, man, for all this wickedness.
You are ordered to move. Eat a dick, Becky!
And also, they're not even reporting, what's taking place currently with in the European Union. You know what I'm saying? Because the European Union, they want to, dismiss the United States as part of the Union, and they want to bring in China, which also goes into biblical prophecy that, their alliance, what I'm saying, was going to be against them, in the end days, So all these things are just, leading up, to their end, you know. The turmoil that's taking place, on their own soil, which they stole, from, our people, the Native Americans, from the tribe of Gad and tribe of Reuben, they, they're facing, their just due judgment now, you know what I'm saying? And these Edomites, they know this, you know what I'm saying? These elites, they know what's taking place. They know what's to come. And that's why, they're going to do whatever they can, to hold on to their kingdom, you know, to to establish and keep their rule. But, they can't, avoid the inevitable because, they're going to be torn down because it's biblically prophesied that Yahweh Shai was going to take them under power, you know. Esau, is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows, man. And this is the end of their world, the end of their kingdom, you know. And, their end is ushering in, the ruler of the nation of Israel. And this is the last video I want to play. You know, started from the beginning. And this will be it.
Sounds like we have Pat Kessler on the phone now.
Pat, please don't hang up on us again.
Yes, this is a very difficult night for everybody in Minnesota, everybody in Minneapolis and St. Paul, as we watch these protests grow. I think one of the big questions, guys, is why isn't the city stepping in of Minneapolis and St. Paul? Why isn't the state stepping in to stop this violence, these fires, these conflagrations, these takeovers of the Minneapolis police precinct? It is a very big question. We know that the governor's office has sent 500 National Guard troops tonight to the Twin Cities to try to tamp down this violence, this looting, the fires. But we don't see them anywhere in the city. We also see tonight that President Trump has entered the fray. Just a few minutes ago, he tweeted that he cannot stand back and watch this happen, in his words, to a great American city. He's attributing it to the radical left mayor, in his words, Jacob Fry. Let's set that aside for just a moment. Here's what's important here. He says that he has spoken to Governor Walz and told him that the military is available to come in and do it. But then the president says this, as any difficulty that happens from now on, he says the federal government will assume control. And he says this, when the looting starts, the shooting starts. So,
see, you hear that? You know what I'm saying? So this is going to justify them bringing in martial law and justify them putting you to death. You know what I'm saying? Because this is what they want. You know what I'm saying? They want to be in total control so that, they can, have control of where and when you move or where you can go. And, if you're out of order, they're going to put you to death. You know what I'm saying? If you rise up against them, they're going to put you to death. And they want that microchip. So that microchip is going to justify you won't be able to do these such things anymore. You won't be able to rise up against them. You know what I'm saying? Your rights or what you believe you have is going to be taken away from you. You know what I'm saying? Because once they implant this chip into you, they're going to have total control over you. You know what I'm saying? So you have no say. You know what I'm saying? They're going to just delete you from society if you try to do these such things. You know what I'm saying? They're going to know that you were at that place. You know what I'm saying? Partaking in that event, because these microchips going to have trackers on them. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? And they're just going to set you off in society. You won't be able to, go to work. You won't be able to, buy food. You know what I'm saying? You won't be able to pay your bills because you're going to be non-existent. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't take the chip, you know what I'm saying, you're also going to be, an outcast, and more than likely they're going to put you to death anyway. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to abide, you know what I'm saying, to the rules and regulations. But for those that do take the chip, you know what I'm saying, they're going to have total control over you, and you're going to be held at their will. You know what I'm saying? And if you do take the chip, the Lord Himself in His return is going to destroy you. Because you believe and trusted in the beast and the system, and you didn't have any faith, upon your Lord. But many of you, 2/3, you're going to take this chip. Only the elect of the nation of Israel is not going to take this, and they're going to be saved out of the tribulation that's to come. You know what I'm saying? Though they will be tested during that time, the Lord's going to save them out of it. You know what I'm saying? They should scarcely be saved, but, Lord willing, I'm among that number. And you brothers, and out there, on the highways and byways and risk your lives, to preach His gospel to our people. You know what I'm saying? That you are too, and that the Lord, will save us out of this, tribulation, that's to come, you know. But this is a beautiful time to be alive, you know, because we're witnessing what the Lord has promised to come. We're living in this time of the end, the time to see the downfall of our enemies, and the salvation of the nation of Israel. So this is a beautiful time to be alive. So all these things that have taken place, I'm sure many of people are going to be afraid. We're going to be afraid, but we're going to know that trusting how Bashim Yahushai. So whatever thing that we have to face, whether we have to be a martyr or whatnot, you know what I'm saying, that he's going to put the spirit upon us to deal with the situations that or the afflictions that we may have to face, and we're going to trust in him, and he's going to deliver us, you know what I'm saying. So even if we're put to death, you know what I'm saying, being a martyr for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, we're going to be raised up first, and we're gonna die, you know what I'm saying, with great dignity for Yahweh Shai's sake, and I'm sure he's gonna be with those, who are in that lot in that time, But yeah, this right here is a beautiful time to be in, man. You know what I'm saying, to witness all this that's going on, because this is gonna bring upon the salvation of the nation of Israel. I'm gonna just let this video play out and that'll be the end.
This is a very strong reaction from the President of the United States in the midst of this really terrible event that's happening in Minneapolis and St. Paul tonight.
Well, Pat, let's break this down a little bit. I mean, who's making the call? Is the mayor listening to the fire chief saying, "I'm afraid to go in"? Is the police chief saying to the fire chief, "I don't have enough guys to protect your fire equipment"? I mean, at some point, someone has to take some responsibility, and I think that's why you see the president getting so worked up. And I think a lot of people watching this are going, where is law enforcement? Where is the fire department? But I know that these decisions aren't made in a vacuum. How does this leadership flow chart work in terms of who is doing or not doing things?
Well, this is the most important question of tonight. We have not heard from any of our city leadership, nor have we heard from Governor Walz about tamping down this violence. That's something I think that is very unusual in all of my years of reporting, that we have not seen our leaders come forward and say, this is what's happening, this is what we're going to do, particularly to stop this violence. So we don't know the answer to the question, Frank. We don't know why or who is not allowing the police to come in, the firefighters to come in, or the National Guard. I will say again that the National Guard has been ordered to these cities, but around the 3rd Precinct, which is burning down, which is something I think that none of us has seen in our lifetime.
No.
Unprotected police department burning down because they gave it up. They retreated and let it happen. So that's something we have not seen. We are still waiting to hear from all of these. Now, specifically to your question, the governor of Minnesota controls the National Guard. He has activated the Guard. The Guard has not yet appeared on the streets of Minneapolis and St. Paul, to my knowledge. Nothing that we have seen yet.
Pat, they haven't appeared.
Where we are.
They haven't appeared on the streets, but we did get a tweet, and there was the National Guard with the fire department, but nothing, and that was almost an hour ago.
Hour and a half now, at least.
And nothing has happened since then.
And Pat, to your point, it even makes it more glaring, I think, is that every day we get an email saying we're having a briefing with the governor at 2 o'clock, and the governor's going to have these people on, and he's going to talk about COVID-19. And there has been communication and maybe over communication, and people have been praising him for how clear he's been about communicating this. But I think you bring up a good point, just the complete void of anyone coming forward tonight saying a thing.
That's the most important point of all here, that we have not heard from any of these folks. As I said, during the last half an hour, I have communicated with the governor's office, asking them, where is the Guard? Why are they not protecting the cities? We have not yet heard back from them. But that's an important point here and an important question. As we look to what happened tonight, where we saw that there was no Guard protecting, the police were protecting, and then they retreated in Minneapolis and allowed the protesters to come in. We don't know who allows that to happen. Is it the Minneapolis police chief? Is it the mayor who says, don't hurt any of the protesters?
Well, I can tell.
We'll
it's
get back
okay,
to Pat.
Trace. We don't need to be breathless about it.
We are going
We'll get it. Hey, Pat, keep watching and listening because we're going to get the chief on right now.
We have the chief right now, the Minneapolis Police Chief, John Friedel, joining us right now. Thank you so much for joining.
It's because they have a bigger plan at hand, man. You know, they're going to bring in martial law. And that's why, you know what I'm saying, they allow this to happen, you know what I'm saying? Because there's a bigger plan at hand, you know? But just want to say, Koholo Yahweh Bashin Yahweh Shai, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, salutations to the hopeful elect, Abba, and Shalom.